Hello everyone!
Oh, hello!
Hi everyone, I'm Miss Sarah, the camp director at the Woodcock Nature Center, and also with me is Mr. Sam.
Hello! I'm the waterfront director at Woodcock Nature Center as well.
Also called Dr. Pond. And we are here to show you guys some animals and plants and do some nature trivia. So hello to any campers who are out there and everyone. Today is really, really hot, so it's unsafe for people to be out extended times in the day. There's a national heat advisory warning from the National Weather Service, so we are here sharing our plants and animals with you guys as you stay cool at home. So I actually have someone very special around my neck. And this someone special he lives in our office, in our offices, so not many campers have seen him unless you've been a camper here for many years. So this is our friend Monty, and Monty is retired from doing a lot of lessons and meeting people because he is very, very old. So he's living a quiet life up in our offices, but we thought we'd take him out of retirement to say hello to everyone. Say hello to Monty. So Monty is an African ball python, and we believe he's actually close to 30 years old, which is pretty much their lifespan, is 20 to 30 years. So I think over 20 years ago, Monty was found here in Connecticut crossing a road. So we think that he was someone's pet that either escaped or they put him out into nature. But we were lucky that we were able to see him and rescue him because he was really skinny. He was kind of bruised up from slithering across a road and not on a natural surface. And he's been with us ever since. So we nursed him back to health, and here he is 20 years later. So Monty, I'm going to see if I can untangle him from my neck. Here we go. To show you how long he is. He's close to 5 feet. There we go. And we do have another ball python that some of you might know named Rocco. And Rocco is how old? Miss Jen's watching, she can clarify. 2 or 3 years old. So he's much smaller, but he will one day get to be Monty's size. So we love Monty. He's met many campers over the years, but he's just relaxing now after being such a hard worker. Thank you, Miss Jen. So Rocco is 2 years old. We were close, 2 to 3. Okay. Woo. All right. So I'm going to keep Monty with me throughout this video, but Mr. Sam actually has another animal that we're going to show for you guys. Might need to adjust the camera. Yeah. You want it down?
Yeah, use the handle behind it.
Aha. Ooh. Okay.
Good?
Yep, I think so.
All right, another crowd favorite here. This is, I hope she doesn't run away.
Woo!
Can we see her? No, stay! Come on, everyone wants to see you.
I'm gonna have to pick her up for a close-up.
All right, so this is Tank. Tank is our snapping turtle and beloved by all who come. And she's about 20 years old, right? Early 20s?
18-ish.
18. And she was taken from the wild as a baby and was then given to us. And we've had her for a whole bunch of years, and so she's actually used to people. So that's why I feel comfortable picking her up like this. With a wild snapping turtle, it would be a little bit different. Come on, stay with us. All right, I'm going to try something else here. If I can't bring her to the camera, I'll bring the camera to her. Switch. All right, here we go. So now you guys can get right up and close with her. So Tank is a snapping turtle, and they have this really cool design on their shells and on their backs, their tails. It kind of reminds me of Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. And their form hasn't really changed for millions of years. They look just like this when they were alive during the dinosaurs as well, which is pretty awesome. And there's something called an ambush predator. An ambush predator means they don't really move to go hunt their prey. They wait for their prey to come to them. Are you able to hold this for me, actually, Sarah? All right, just keep it angled there for me.
Sure.
I want to show you guys, one of the ways you can tell that she's an ambush predator is because she's very armored up on the top, very protected, and even her head is angled up to look. So she's waiting for fish or turtles to swim above her, and then she can strike really quickly. But if we look down, well, actually also, the top of her body is very dark. So if I'm a fish looking down, she's going to blend in with that dark bottom of the pond. But then if we look at the bottom of her body, I'm going to hold it really quick like this. She's very light, which matches the bright surface of the water. But also there's not a lot of shell coverage down there. She's pretty squishy. And that's because she just hangs out mostly at the bottom of the pond. She doesn't need to protect herself down there because there's nothing beneath her that is a threat. So, I'm sorry, I know. I'll put you down now. She's got spider web all over. Here at the Nature Center, she eats lettuce, she eats the mice that the snakes don't eat. She occasionally will eat fish that the kids catch. And apparently, from what I've heard, Counselor Jason told me this, that their bite force is not as strong as a human's bite force. I still don't want to be bit by a snapping turtle, though. I forgot what I was going to say.
Miss Jen is saying, don't pick them up by the tail.
Oh, yes.
And she's asking, is Tank a boy or a girl?
That's a funny story. So we've had Tank for many years, and for most of those years we thought that Tank was a boy. And then one year she was acting very strange, and then we noticed eggs in her tank. And since male turtles cannot lay eggs, we have learned that Tank is actually a female. And we still mix it up. Every once in a while you'll hear us say he, like he is hungry or something, and we have to catch ourselves because we're so used to thinking of Tank as a boy. But Tank is a girl. Yeah.
See if we can show her pretty face.
I think she's a little shy. Can't remember what I was going to say. All right, should we move on then?
Yeah. We're going to say goodbye to Tank. And can you set this back up?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to look at some skulls.
Hello again.
Good. Okay, I'm going to hop in. Still with Monty hanging out on my shoulder, getting some sunshine and some exercise. But we're going to play a game called Guess That Skull. So I'm going to show you two skulls. I'm going to see if you guys can guess what animal the skulls came from. So I have to grab my first one over here. Here is, first one's a small one. So this is how small it is, next to my face. And it has, we'll first look at the teeth. So it has these long canines for tearing through meat, but it also has a lot of flat teeth, these back molars, for eating plants. So this came from an animal that is an omnivore. And this animal is, I wouldn't say it's a very small animal, it's a medium animal. And it eats grubs, It likes to dig in the ground for grubs and earthworms and insects, but it will also eat eggs and some small frogs. And this is a skunk skull. Sam was giving you a hint behind me by holding his nose. So this is the skull of a skunk. So skunks are omnivores, and they scavenge and dig in the dirt a lot to get baby larval insects. That's their main part of their diet. So, next skull is much bigger. Dun 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 dun. Okay, I'm gonna put it on my head so you can see how big it is. Oh. So, massive skull and no sharp teeth, all flat teeth. Okay, we have a guess of a donkey. It is not a donkey, but it does look similar to a donkey. You're on the right track. It is a large hoofed animal. It's massive. And it would probably, its head would probably be way up here on a live animal. So this is a moose skull. A moose skull. So we do have, oh, hey Monty, we do have moose in Connecticut, not here in Ridgefield and Wilton, but more up north in Connecticut. There are some moose populations. So this is, I'm just amazed at how big their skull is, how big of animals they are, and they survive off plants. So they eat leaves and twigs and bark, and they use these giant teeth, look at those teeth, huge, to mash up all of that plant matter. So that's our moose skull. All right, and I'm gonna pass it on to Sam. He's gonna show us a really neat plant. It's one of my favorite plants.
All right, before I talk about the plant, I remember what I was gonna say about the snapping turtle, and that is if you find a turtle, whether it be a snapping turtle or a painted turtle that is trying to cross the road, the best thing to do for that is to move the turtle to the side of the road that it is trying to get to. It's either going to find a nest to lay their eggs, or it's going to get back to the pond that they want to live in for their adult life. It's easy with a painted turtle. Again, you just have to be careful that they don't bite you, but just kind of, you can either pick them up if you're comfortable, or just kind of guide them maybe with a stick gently towards the side of the road that they're moving towards. With a snapping turtle, again, it's probably best to use like a larger stick to kind of just maybe scare the snapping turtle over a little bit more. They'll walk if you get too close to them. Some people cover their faces if you have to pick them up, but I really highly advise against that. But yeah, the reason you want to bring them to the side is because the side that they're moving towards is because if you move them back to the other side, they're just going to walk right back out and start their journey over again. So it's awesome to help turtles cross the road. We support it here at Woodcock. Just make sure you're doing it the right way. Now, on to plants. This is a pretty awesome plant. It's a tree that has 3 different types of leaves. I don't know, it's a favorite at summer camp this summer. Everyone seems to love these plants. So if you know the name of this plant, go ahead and put it in the comments. So 3 different types of leaves. We call this one the normal boring leaf. Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy. Just kidding. This leaf is nice too. This one we call the mitten. Unfortunately, an insect got to these leaves, so they're kind of filled with holes and stuff. But this one's the mitten, because it kind of looks like a mitten. And then this one has many names. The ghost leaf, the T-Rex footprint leaf. My personal favorite is the Yoda hand leaf. And the reason for this, the advantage that this tree has, is that when the leaves grow, they kind of grow in the little pockets so that they maximize the amount of light that they're able to pick up, because they need that light in order to photosynthesize to make sugar. So I'm not seeing any guesses on this one, so I'll tell you. This one is called the sassafras tree, which is also like the most fun, like the best named tree. I think in Connecticut. Sassafras. It's fun to say. And so some of the uses for this tree, it used to actually be used, the roots were used to make root beer. Not so much anymore, but you would just take the roots, normally for the smaller shoots, dig them up, chop them up, boil them. We did it here at the Nature Center actually. Boiled them for about an hour, and then you just keep adding sugar till it tastes good. And then we mixed it with like sparkling water, and it was root beer. And the kids said that they enjoyed it. So I tried a sip too. It was pretty good, if you like root beer. Did I not say T-Rex footprint, Jen?
You said Yoda.
I did say, well, I always have to make sure I say Yoda. And the last helpful hint for these plants is that they actually can be used as a insect mosquito repellent. So if you take the leaves and you crush them up, just like we did with the jewelweed earlier, crush them up and you can rub them around like the neck area or wherever you get your bug bites most often. Just rub it around there. It has a nice like citronella kind of smell, and it helps keep the bugs away. Again, it's going to wear off in a little bit, so you can always just grab another leaf and reapply. But it's a fun little use for these plants. So yeah, very nice. All right, let's finish off with some nature trivia and see what we got here. All righty. So on the topic of snapping turtles. Any guesses on how long a snapping turtle can live? So the question is, how long can a snapping turtle live? Turtles are known for living very long, so don't guess 3 years. But they're not going to live 1,000 years either. Somewhere in between those numbers. They're very slow growing, but they also produce a lot of eggs, like 30 eggs per batch, with the hopes that some of them will be able to grow to adulthood. Jen, we shouldn't let Jen play because she knows the answers. Jen, you're right. 80 to 100 years is how long a snapping turtle can live, which is crazy. That's pretty much the same as humans. You could get a buddy snapping turtle when you're born and have them live your whole life with you. Yeah. All right. Next is, what type of organism is the largest ever living organism?
This is the tough question.
This is a tough one, and it is alive today. It's in the state of Oregon? I think it's pronounced Oregon. My mom asked, do turtles get attached to people if they are pets?
I think they know who feeds them.
Yeah. I've noticed with reptiles that it's not the same kind of attachment that like a mammal, like a dog or cat has with their humans. But they can recognize who feeds them and stuff like that, yeah. All right, so largest organism ever is a fungus, and I have the scientific name, but it's Armillera ostii, but the nickname is humongous fungus, so I like that one better. And it covers 4 square miles. It's one organism that is 4 square miles in the state of Oregon, which is nuts. And so my last trivia question for you is, what animal has a tongue so long that when it goes back into their head, it actually wraps up around their brain and ends right behind the eyeball? So it's an animal that sticks out their tongue really far to get things, and it lives in Connecticut. And so it sticks their tongue out really far and then brings it in to get those insects, and then all the way up around their brain. And again, Miss Jen is correct. The answer is a woodpecker, specifically the pileated woodpecker in these images. So you guys can see the red image there is showing you where along the skull the tongue goes, which is nuts. I wonder if he can taste his own brain. But I try not to think about that too much because then I'll feel like a zombie.
It also acts like a helmet
Yes.
when they're pecking the tree.
Yep. So they reach in really far to get those termites, and then they come all the way back in, and it acts as a helmet so that when they're pecking the wood, it helps prevent the brain from being jostled around and stuff, which is a good evolutionary tactic that they have, I think. Let's see. Allegra fact-checked us here. Some turtles in the snapping turtle family can live 70 to 100 years, and I can't see the rest because you typed a book, apparently. So, cool. So, yeah, the answer's woodpecker. Very good. Thank you, Jen, for getting all three correct. You get a 100%, Miss Jen. All right, we signing off here?
Yeah. So, I'll come back up with Monty. All right, here's Monty again. So, thank you guys for watching. We were excited to share some of our animal friends. Monty's getting very close to my mouth. Hi, Monty. And some cool nature facts with you, and we're excited to see all of our campers again tomorrow. I think Monty wants to go in my mask. Silly.
She's trying to be safe.
So, with that, we'll say goodbye, stay cool, stay safe, and we'll see some of you guys tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
I'll do it.
Yep.